Maybe. Okay, it says we started. Do you want to check YouTube? Because I definitely did not have that pulled up. You're muted. You're still muted. But you're checking YouTube, so I guess I could do that too. Well, first of all, let's just say hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is the new book club without Nicole, but she's probably, let's just say she's in the comments. She's with us in spirit. So I don't know if people are commenting. People are commenting. Okay, it must be going live somehow. You got Shannon here.
We're good. We're good. We're live. Yay!
All right.
Hi, Shannon.
Hey, Liz.
Hi, Liz.
Yes, a very happy Wednesday. Woo woo.
It does not feel like a Wednesday.
It doesn't. For some reason, all day has felt like a Tuesday. What was terrible is
I literally had this conversation earlier.
I was talking with someone yesterday, and I'm like, "Well, you have a great rest of your day and have a great weekend. Like, I hope you had a great Friday." And I was like, "It's a Tuesday. What's going on? Why do I think it's Friday?"
This has just been a mess.
Yay! I did do it. Unfortunately,
and she didn't have too many freakouts between, so she did it without freaking out too much. Yay!
I know I tried to get all the banners ready. I was just like, oh dang. But I did Nicole proud because I actually annotated. So we'll see how fun that was. I actually really enjoyed
telling you, the
annotating.
translucent Post-its will change your life.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So you guys don't know about this because I had no clue. There are such things as a translucent yeah, whatever.
Yeah, translucent.
Post-it note where you can just which way does it go? Like there's stuff under here. You could just write for days. You could highlight and you could type things, and it's beautiful.
You can get I can give you the link if you want to put it to the Amazon link. If you want to put it in the description thing, because it's like 2,000 of them for like $7.
Oh yeah, it was very reasonable. Oh my goodness, everything's coming up.
The comments just went nuts.
I know too. I was just like, did you all comment at once? Oh my gosh. Everyone's saying hi to everyone. Hey, cool gamer.
Love it. I love it. Hi, cool gamer.
I'm gonna blast through a lot of these guys. Yes, they are the greatest things. Now, I will say, Alicia, the ones that you sent me were a 3x3, which seemed very large. So they have other sizes.
Yeah. I just didn't know how big your handwriting is. I don't want to assume.
Well, and the thing that the problem that I ran into, one, I can write really small, so that's not a problem. But my second thing is I tried to start writing when I initially started. Let's see if I can find one. Yeah, so when I originally started, I would just write and go over the words. Yeah. And then I was like, well, with it being translucent,
yeah, I know
see what it says. So then I started trying to get really crafty with where to place it.
I always do it at the end of chapters, and then I'd put little notes of where it is in the chapter.
But yeah, they're a thing, and they're amazing.
Literally, just go on Amazon, put in translucent Post-its, and they're everywhere.
Yeah, this was brand new to me. I was so thrilled.
I found them after college. I wish I found them in college because they would have been a lifesaver.
Oh yeah, true.
But we are talking about this one right here.
Oh yeah, we are talking. Daring Pursuit by Kate Bateman. This is the second book in the series. This one's the first one, and then this is one that we're going to read next month. So hopefully you liked it.
Ruthless Rivals is the name of the series.
Yeah, I think I like this more. So I know that Charles, when we did the first one, he said that he liked the other series. The Bow Street something.
Bow Street, yeah.
I honestly think I like this one better. Yeah, that's just me.
I definitely like the second one in the series a lot better. No,
oh yeah,
there was more there. There was more meat on the bone, so to speak.
Yeah,
when it came to the relationship.
And then to your question, Shannon, a little bit of both. Depends on because sometimes, and this is the problem that I struggled with, and I don't know, Alicia, maybe you can tell me how you do it to make it
Okay.
magically work. But because I started trying to write in the spaces, I would post it in the book, unless if it was a note at the end of the chapter and I knew I could just write anywhere.
Yeah.
And then I would post it in. And then sometimes I would try to write in a hardback or paperback was just difficult for me because
Yeah,
I didn't want to
writing
break the
in the
spine, but I
paperback is
forgot.
hard.
Yeah,
Unless you want to like fully crack your spines, which honestly
I
is
did a
hard
little
to
bit.
do with these. It's
Yeah,
very hard to do with these.
I creased mine.
I did too. I didn't fully break it, but there was no way to like, because is it just me or is this a slightly skinnier but taller mass market?
It was.
It's a
And you
very
know what's
awkward mass
frustrating?
market to hold.
You know what's really frustrating? I'm sorry to make everyone really angry right now because I got
I know
this
there's
second book.
Yep.
Who does this? Who does this? Why in the middle of a series do you do this?
I hate when
No.
they change the covers in the middle of series too, and
Ugh.
they don't like they don't re-release the other ones so you can get them all in. Oh, it makes me so mad.
Yeah. Yeah. You do where left off. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. True, very true, very true. I like this book. I didn't feel like the oh, hold on. My brain stopped working for a second once I started to write to read. I like the book. I didn't feel like the first one had any bearing on it. Yep. I think that's something that Alicia, you were saying too, that the first one just didn't have as much chemistry.
There was
A bit more.
I mean, there was just like it kind of felt like insta lovey the first one. I mean,
Yeah.
because I read the first one last month because I missed the book club because of health stuff.
Reasons.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I read both of them, and not that it was written badly, but I feel like the first one was more insta love, and these two you could tell liked each other. Like
Before. Yep.
even though like give me witty banter all day long. That's my favorite thing on the planet. Is witty
I
banter.
love it so much.
It's the best.
It really
And
is.
it's the best. It like because it gives the characters more life to them. It's not just
It does.
Sally or whatever. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't figure out what's up with these sizes. It's the same thing with hardcovers. They have two different size hardcovers now too.
or
I haven't seen them do it mid-series, but like looking at my bookshelf over here, they do like go up and down depending on
the one that makes me
the
really
whim.
mad is when they have those like smaller hardbacks, which I love, like the smaller hardbacks,
Oh yeah.
like they're shorter, and then the second one is a regular size hardback, and you're like, but how?
Yeah. Why? Why are you doing this to me? Yep, 100% agree. Yeah. I think they do it to mess with our minds. They're like, "Ooh." But the thing is, they would be smart if they republished some of the other ones in the new size because then they could make more money. Because I would immediately then go out and buy all the new ones,
Like I don't
to have
hate
them all the
this
same.
size, but make it all cohesive on the shelf.
Yeah. Yeah. I wondered because there were a couple of times where I was reading and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Liz's gonna love this."
Are you a historian, Liz? Like, is
I think she
that
reads a lot of historicals. But yeah,
okay?
answer that question. I'd be curious.
I'm just
There was
I'm curious because you always know a lot about history, so I'm curious if like you're a history teacher or a professor or something.
I will say at one point I fact checked the author. I don't know why. Like I should have known that someone fact checked her before. But as soon as they said an unkind, like a group of ravens is an unkindness, I was just
Mhm.
like, no, it's not. It's a murder of ravens. And then I was like, wait a minute, it's a murder of crows. And then I was like, did she get it right? So I googled it and fact checked her. She was accurate. So anyone that
Yeah.
was wondering that,
Honestly, that's
um,
what I can say. I mean, historicals aren't historically accurate. That's the point of them.
true.
But like in certain parts where you wouldn't think she'd be historically accurate, she's historically accurate.
Right, right. Well, and I know the author. I think she's either English or Welsh. I want to say she might be Welsh.
Let me
I
check.
could be wrong. Liz, can you tell me then when he like spoke a whole sentence in French? I had no idea what was happening. They did translate it, but what is it a good
Mhm.
translation or was it like iffy? I always wonder about that, but I
It made me
didn't have
laugh
the
because I
time to
went to
type it
school
all
with
up.
I went to a school with a lot of students from all over the world. So like I used to make my one friend talk to me. I didn't even care what he said because his accent was just pretty.
I mean, you could teach history and French. I don't know if that's an option.
He lives
You could
between Illinois, and her native England, so she's English.
English. Okay.
But she also
I know
lives
that
in Chicago.
she must have visited then, because I follow her on Instagram. That always feels really creepy for me to say, but I do. But I have to be here for the first live with you. Yeah! It's really good. I will say there's audiobooks for these two. You said they were on Scribd, right, Alicia?
Scribd and My Hoopla had the first one.
Yeah, My Hoopla had the first one, but not the second.
I hate when another pet peeve. I'm sorry to go off.
At least it wasn't, they didn't have the first one and they had the second, because that I think gets me even more. Like, as long as
the
they
first
give me
and
the
the
first
third.
one.
What about two? What about two?
I mean, I think they try to suck you in with the first one so that you buy the second audio, but at the same time, I feel the same way, because I got to a point and I'm like, I would love to be able to read it, like listen to it, because I obviously push things to the end. We all know we procrastinate, not necessarily like Nicole does for the day of. I can't read that fast.
I'm working on her. I'm slowly working on her. We're reading this early.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've already got the audiobook, and because I wasn't sure it was going to come in time, I did the ebook, because I was just like, oh, I'll annotate. And I think, Alicia, you even told me that you do like you highlight the names of each characters, which fun story, guys. I went hardcore. I had to make Nicole real proud. I made a list of people, and you bet your ass I put the animals on here. We've got Joffrey.
I'm sorry, the bear is the best freaking part. The bear is the best part.
A bear named Buttercup, a pet bear, guys. There was a pet bear.
But he was never. It's a he, right? Yeah, it's a he.
The Buttercup, yeah.
Yeah. But they mentioned him in the first book, and I'm like, I messaged you. I'm like, there's a pet bear ? And you're like, I don't remember that.
Well, I hadn't started reading yet, and I think you thought that I had read it too, and so I was like, I haven't read this one. This is a newbie. So then I thought, for some reason, I thought you were completely like pulling my leg. Like, there's no way yanking my chain. And then I think it was like Reese or Morgan. They're like, yeah, she's got a pet bear at home. And I was like,
and
oh my God, peacock? She didn't lie.
And the peacock. I don't want a peacock.
She with the French.
I'm gonna have to pick your brain on stuff, Liz.
We're gonna have to get some more historicals in here.
Yes,
we've both decided that we can add in the London. I think it's the London Society, which is the other Sarah Penn. But honestly, that's gonna be like July.
Oh, and anybody that has book of the month, that is an option for your book of the month this month.
Good to know.
I got it as an add-on for my book of the month this month.
Yeah, that is also true, Shannon. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it like I would almost rather they have the first and not the second than not have the first and have the second, because at that point that I like almost, I know it's not the author's fault, but I kind of want to like just in spite not read it, because I'm just like, well, I'm not going to do it. Even though I could get the audiobook somewhere else, I just have to go looking for it.
It's just annoying when I go through all of I have various versions of audiobook platforms, and no one has it, and you're just like, but why? But there's I understand when it's not, they don't have audio, but like when they have audio and you're just like, but why? Can't I get it on Scribd or something?
Or even like if they just don't have, understandable for indie authors, but for well-known authors, it really frustrates me when they don't have an audio. Yeah, when they don't have it. Oh, we're gonna get to that at the end. My bad.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So kind of, we've been sort of talking about it. It's fine.
Yeah, we're not going as far off as we normally do.
Yeah, we're in the genre of things. We got to figure out how to start some stuff.
I have to say though, one of my first tabs was
my first tab was on the first page. It was before the first page. It was the Welsh proverb, the while kicking and biting love develops. And I'm like, I already love this, because enemies to lovers is my favorite trope.
See, I think this is more friends to lovers. They play like enemies, but they're not really. Like they both liked each other the whole entire time. They just don't communicate.
That's also true. 100%.
But like you know I have a huge issue with miscommunication, but it didn't feel like miscommunication. It just felt like
it was a different kind of miscommunication, because there's miscommunication where you're like purposefully not saying anything, and then there's miscommunication when it's like, well, I've got to protect a secret, like I don't want this to get out. Like it's a different kind of miscommunication in a
and
way.
going off of the time period too.
True.
Like there's certain things
Which is so frustrating. That was one of my post-its as well, where she was just like, if I was a man and this happened to me, nothing would have gone wrong. And I was just like, so right that women are always screwed over in this.
Yeah. We're thought of as, with a lot of people, we're thought of as property, especially back then.
Yeah. And so for her, like, not wanting to marry because she didn't want to lose, like, at this point, she could just do whatever the hell she wants. Like, she could
trust me,
have
with
her
those
menagerie.
brothers.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, a romance. How rare, I know, it never happens. Annoying. It was an annoying miscommunication. That's the point to it, because I think
it was an understandable
was
miscommunication.
I can't remember if it was a book that we read for book club or if it was a book that I read on my own, but like they refused to talk to each other. And I'm like, if you had just used your words,
Like
if you had listened to each other when they were talking and given the other person an opportunity, this whole book would have been not necessary. And I was frustrated the whole time. Like it was a YA novel. And I literally paused the audiobook at one point and I yelled at the speaker. I was just like, just fucking talk to him already.
I've done it.
So I rage read that book, and I'm probably going to have to rage read the rest of the series because it keeps ending in a way where I'm like, I'm kind of invested at this point, and I want to know.
Is it the In Ash series? The
Hush Hush.
Oh, that one. Okay.
That was really big a while ago.
The Jennifer L. Armentrout one, because I feel like she writes that stuff on purpose.
No, so for those ones, I'm enjoying them, but the thing is I feel like I get to about 60% of the way into the book, and then I'm like, damn. It's a long book.
Her books are way too long. I'm sorry. I like the first one, don't get me wrong, but she uses the as someone who is used to be in it, who used to be
every time you say it.
Like I used to edit, and like I'm like, she has not paid for an editor. They just no, half of this could be cut out just by cutting out her repeat words.
Well, and the thing is it doesn't feel like nothing is unnecessary. Like I get your point and it can definitely be cut down.
Like the amount of oh my gods could be cut down. I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying you don't have to say it every sentence.
True. And really, I was reading this last one. It's the third book in this series, and every time they say it, it's one of those things where now I hear it and I'm just like
I ruined it for you, sorry.
You do say it a lot, my friend. Granted, it's kind of like the world that they live in. They have multiple gods. Like I get it, but at the same time, like I started to hear it more and more. And I'm like, dang, she needs to pick a new phrase. Like,
and it was one of those things because I was listening to the audio. I'm like, am I like, is it skipping? Am I hearing the same thing over and over again?
You're not. Okay, Shannon, it's a good book. I will give it that. However, this would have been a better series for me to read back in my like Twilight days, because I feel like it's not like there's necessarily a love triangle, but
I don't like that in general. I didn't even like that back in the day when it was
acceptable. It's just angsty.
Yeah, I'm not an angsty reader.
Frustratingly angsty, and at a certain point, like I get her age, but I think I read so many more like adult books or new adult books where they have less problems.
I didn't mind the angst in here because it was warranted. When they had their angsty moments, it was warranted. She was worried about that. What the hell was the guy's name? The guy who was blackmailing
on the list. Tell me about it.
Oh, he was so annoying.
Was it Christopher Howe?
Howe. Yep. He was such a little twerp. I'm like, you're such a little twerp. Like
I wanted to throat punch him so many times. Oh my gosh! Every time he got put in his place,
like when she goes back in her memory and the scene takes place, you're just like, because you knew it. Like everyone knows a guy like him. Everyone does.
Add it to my yeah. It's I mean, give the first book a shot. It might not bother you, but it bothered me.
Oh, yeah,
um,
you were rage texting me a couple times
I
while
was
you were
because it got to a point where I was like, it could be so much better. And then I've also read what is it called? The Fallen series by Lauren Kate, which had very similar like angels and
Okay.
demons type scenario. And I
Okay.
felt like that one was done much better. So I think that was my problem. I started comparing like the two types. Um, yeah, the two types. I do. I think I'm honestly gonna have to do it for every book because it really helped.
It helps.
Um,
I usually
it
do like
did.
a large post-it in the front of the book, but I didn't
That
for
I
this.
should. I got so many translucent Post-it notes. I really
I'm
should.
telling you, it'll change your life. I'm surprised you've never used post-it in a book before.
Honestly, the first one I put like I you said they were translucent. You said I could use pen or pencil, like it would work either way. And I'm like, okay, like even if it doesn't work great, I could use it for something else. But like the first one I put on the page, I was like, oh, what is this? And then I started writing and I'm like, this is so
Life
magical.
changing. And now you know.
Yeah. So just know that if you're a Post-its person, once you go translucent, you just never go back.
My first post-it is page 4.
Page
When
4.
when they're
I
talking
have one
about
on 4 too. What is yours?
clever, please tell me you have something under that dress, and she goes, perfume. And I was like, that is perfect. I love her already. Just in one sentence, I love her.
I'm not even joking. I highlighted that too, and I put hashtag scandalous. I was just like, damn, that's a great response. It does, yeah. And we're finishing a lot of series, so I knew that I'd have to remember these people for the next book.
Yeah, I put a lot of post-its, and then towards the
I did
end,
too many. I didn't even put a little tab for each of them. Sometimes I just highlighted because I'm like, this is super cute.
yeah,
And I just wanted to remember that
like
moment.
there, like I love the fact that she let him do his like architecture thing. Like she was interested in what he had to say. Like everybody was like, I mean, they
Yes.
didn't use the term, but like basically, he's a nerd. Who cares?
We didn't plan it, Shannon. But yeah, he was such a nerd. And that's one of the things that I loved a lot of times too, where she like, and this is how you knew that they loved each other without like
Saying
explicitly saying it when they were younger, is that there were a couple times where um they would have, oh my God, words are failing me right now. I just keep reading the comments. I'm like, guys,
I
we're
know.
doing it.
It wasn't on purpose either. We didn't coordinate that.
I mean, we texted throughout the novel, but this was not one of them.
Like comments, but we didn't coordinate our post-its. I promise. Or on purpose. Let's put it that way.
I remember my thought. All right, so with the architecture, like she's purposely figured out that he liked certain like architects that were very obscure. So she
Yeah,
actually went out and did research on each of that, well, the
that's
one
so
guy.
cute.
But it was adorable. I'm like, that's how you know you really like she says she did it because she wanted to like push his buttons, but come
Piss him
on.
off. Like, because
We
he
all
doesn't
know.
like the Baroque style, and she constantly was like, "Well, I want buttresses," and he's like, "Buttresses suck." And I was just like, "This is my type of conversation." Like,
Oh man.
I'm trying to find where my next post-it is. The worst part is like I was posting noting it so much that post-its were like falling out.
Right. Oh, and then I really loved the description of her dress where her
The
first
new
dress in this
the new
scene.
dress.
Basically, it looked like a nude dress because it was very
Yeah,
thin fabric.
yeah.
It had like a lot. I don't know. It was thin in a way that he kept calling it a handkerchief. But she made mention too that she was just like, this has the one dressmaker put like a basically a skin colored slip underneath it. So even though it looked like her skin, it
Yeah.
wasn't. And I was just like, it's so classy.
But I
Okay,
like the
first
people that want to push the buttons to like ruffle people's feathers. I'm that kind of person that I'm like, I like you.
true, true.
And
My question,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna ask you because you did the audiobook. How do you say
Uh-huh.
her name?
Karis,
Karis.
which is Welsh for loved one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The only reason I know that is my friend's daughter's name is Karis.
Karis. Okay, because I kept calling her Cars, and I
Yeah,
was like, "That I know that's not right." Karis. Okay, so I'm gonna
yeah.
mispronounce her name about 75,000 times. But for everyone in the comments, the characters' name are Karis and
And
Tristan.
Tristan?
Oh, hey, I've got a cat.
Cat
she's
sighting.
just she's been a little bit of a stinker. Um, but yeah, I love that like he comes up to her and he goes, "I can't imagine you paid much for that outfit. That hardly enough material to make a handkerchief." And she's like, "As a matter of fact, this is the most expensive dress I've ever worn." And he's like, "That can't be true. Like, there's so little fabric." And then she goes on to tell like why it is the most, just because it's so thin. They have to have multiple layers. I was like,
Yeah.
"That's really adorable. I love that."
And she also like she was like I think it was the same paragraph where she said, "I'm wearing more clothing than most other people in this room."
Most other people there, yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. And then I love that his costume, like at one point, it sounded, they described it as kind of like a toga, but then
Yeah, that's
she had this.
all I thought of was like Animal House when I heard toga. I was like Animal House.
Well, she put a description in here, like the very next page, about how the it had kind of cut off just above the knee or right at the knee, and so she started to describe it kind of like a kilt. And then one of her things was, "Who'd have thought knees could be attractive, and what was he wearing underneath?" And I'm like,
I
"Girl, that
highlighted
is the
that too.
question." We're the same person, Alicia. Let's
Yeah,
admit it now.
that's why we talk all day long throughout the day anyway.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I feel like I've heard that before. Um, but I can't pinpoint it. But that's Chanel number 5. I
Oh, I like
mean,
yeah, yeah,
scandalous.
that is I actually have that I have that quote in one of her books. My dad bought me a Marilyn Monroe book for Christmas a couple years ago.
Oh,
I
very
forgot about
cool.
that.
Yeah, I mean, that is scandalous.
My type of
um,
scandalous though.
True. Very true. Very true. Um, I'm gonna try not to go through like each and every post-it note, but I will probably talk about a lot of these anyways. Yeah, her love for bears, it would, or not bears,
Her
just
love for
animals in
animals just
general.
in general was just sweet.
Yeah, and I loved that I think it was Aunt Prudence and Aunt Constance towards the
Can I just
end.
say I want a side story of them?
Yes. And can I just tell you that they are front runners for my Academy Bookish Awards for the best
Yeah,
sidekick characters.
yes.
They're in this for like 3 pages, and
They're
that's it. And I'm like,
funny
you
as hell.
basically stole a story.
I went there because they seem as scandalous as she is. So like I'm
Yes.
like I want their story. Like even if it's just like posted on your website, I'll read it. Like
Agreed. Agreed. And I remember them from the last books that they were kind of saucy or
yeah.
and sassy. Saucy and sassy. I mean, they're two different things, but
I don't know.
100%.
Every time I know it sounds weird because I'm not a cat person, but I was just thinking of like the two cats from Lady and the Tramp, like the two sisters that sit up
Oh
perfectly
yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah. Yep, yep. Um, it is Glass of Marilyn Monroe,
Yeah.
that's sure. I didn't either. I always learn something new during these lives. Let me just be real.
With Liz, yes. And then I do a
Yeah.
bunch. I'm a research person, so I go into like research rabbit holes a
Oh
lot.
yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, there were a couple times, and a few people mentioned it as well with her, where it's like she would injure herself or like humans would be injured, and she was always more concerned about the pet or the
Yeah,
animal. Like when she tried to go over something and she's like, "I just felt bad for the horse." While she's sitting down there, they expect that she's got broken ribs, lost
yeah.
like all the air in her lungs, and she's like, "Is the horse okay?" Same thing with this bear. This bear tried to eat them towards the end. Spoiler
I'm
alert, we're going to
sorry
the
if
end.
I'm an animal person, but if something tried to eat me,
Yeah. And she was just like, "Is he okay down there?" I was
or
like,
like
"I hope that he's a little bit concussed so that he doesn't come after you."
yeah, thank you. I'm sorry, bears are scary.
They are. Although I love Buttercup, the little tune that she would play to get him to come to the gate, I was like,
Yeah,
"That is, oh, what is it? A
and
domesticated animal."
the lady who did the audio sang that part. She didn't just read it. It was
Oh,
really cute.
I always like that.
Yeah.
I honestly, towards the end, I was sure that he let Buttercup out. Buttercup, yeah, sorry for a second.
Yeah.
And then I
As
was
a
just like,
ruse.
"Oh my gosh." And then she's like, "Just do all of these things, you'll lure him back into the cage." And I was like, "You idiot. You've just given him away." Because for in my mind, like, I'm trying to predict all the things that are gonna happen.
Yeah.
Only one of my predictions came true with the ravens.
The ravens were cute.
They were awesome.
And I'm not
And
a bird person. I was like, all right, I can hang with birds.
yeah, but she gives him like how to entice him back in the cage. No, that's not okay.
No.
But yeah, these ravens, Hugin and Munin.
Yeah.
Basically, they were after Norse mythology. What's his name? Odin. Odin's ravens.
Odin. Because I remember Wednesday is after it's Odin's day. Wednesday.
Oh my gosh, it's Odin's day right now.
Yeah.
I always remember tomorrow as Thor's day.
Thor's day and Freya's day is Friday.
Right, it's Friday, yeah.
I'm telling you, you need to watch American Gods on Hulu. It's great.
I'll have to check it out. I think I wanted to watch that when it originally came
so
out.
Good.
Yeah. But yeah, the fact that they could, and when they, as soon as they said it, I wanted to put a post-it note where she was just like, yeah, at one point, there's an extra N in there, Shannon. So it's, oh, I don't know why I'm looking in here. Huginn and then Muninn.
It's not like phonetically it looks really weird. Like it looks really strange when you write it out.
I think they were supposed to be Odin's ravens.
Yeah.
But in this book, it was super cute that they could mimic sounds, which I didn't know. I'm actually kind of curious. Yeah, that they could make the sound of like a cocking of a gun, not necessarily it firing. And so I was just like, oh dang, that better come up somewhere. So throughout this whole thing, they're through the woods, and I'm like, they gotta pop up somewhere and make that noise and freak someone out, or like I kept really hoping. At the end, it's one of my post-it notes where he came as a pirate and he had a bunch of pistols everywhere. And I was like, I hope one of these pistols is used on Hal at one point.
I'm sorry,
Better
he was
story,
a sniveling twerp.
He was.
God.
And then
I felt like, I mean, I know we're jumping around, but I felt so bad for his wife. Oh my God.
Victoria. I was just like, that poor soul.
We need her love story because she needs a love story because she's a decent human being.
I mean, she's in love with that Lord
something.
I didn't write it down.
Well, they said at the end that they were waiting 3 weeks to get married because he was like.
No, that was her friend Frances and James. I think she just would have taken her. Victoria would have taken her lover unless if she got word that her husband died. I'm not sure how that would have worked.
I would love for him to die because he was awful.
Yeah, when they were talking about how he should just disappear, I'm like, yeah, make him disappear. Victoria can have her happy ending with her baby daddy. They can steal this guy's title. That's all he needs.
But it's just like,
when she came, when she was walking through the gardens and she came upon them in an intimate embrace, Victoria and I want to say it's Lord Powell, very close if I'm wrong, where she comes by like later that day and she's like, I think you might have seen me in the gardens. And I was really grateful that Karis. I told you I'm gonna butcher it. That she was just like, I could have lied to her, but we both know I would be lying. So I really appreciated that she just was like, yeah, I did see you. It kind of happened.
But she didn't shame her for it. Like, you're married to that. I mean, pathetic excuse. So
of a human.
Yeah.
I
was really worried about how your reaction would be with that scene where they go back in time with what happened.
So for anyone that hasn't read the book, so I guess it's just Shannon.
Spoilers about if you haven't read the book, I'm sorry.
No. And this is something that I will tell you guys, if we're ever going to read a book that you read and there's anything rapey or rape adjacent, please tell me. So Alicia had kind of started to read it early, and she's like, just as a forewarning, like, it's not necessarily rape, but it's going to have some rapey vibes. God, I don't even know. They didn't mention her age, but it was her first season.
So she was probably 16 to 18.
Roughly. 16 to 18. That makes sense. And so she's been I'm assuming that he was courting her at one point. He
Oh,
said
he
all
was
the
because
right.
he wanted her money.
True. And hey, thanks. Yeah, I ruined
Hi,
the live. So yeah,
Dina. I
I
love
was
Dina.
just like, it was one of those things where I never, it always bothers me. And so even as it started and having that warning, like, thank goodness I had the warning, because had I not, I probably immediately would have had to
Yeah.
set it down and be like, I'm not sure
I
I can
wasn't
finish
sure if I
this.
should tell you or not because it's not technically. He just
Always.
he lied to her, basically
Yeah.
saying we were going to be engaged in 3 days. So
And she did,
yeah.
I mean, she was a willing participant. She
Oh
did
yeah,
say yes,
it wasn't like
but
he. Yeah,
he definitely did not
he took advantage.
reveal all of the facts. Like, he
Yeah,
had no intention of taking her hand.
I think it was 3 days later he married his wife.
No, he didn't marry her. It was announced that he was
That's
engaged.
what it was. Yeah, it
And
was
then
like.
Lord Ellington, bless his heart, I love him so much. I
Can
want
we
him
get
to
a
have a
side
happy
story of
ending.
him, please?
Yeah. Yeah. He's going to have to leave England because I feel really bad that he's gay, and if it comes out in England or where he's currently located, like, it's basically a hanging offense. So I was like, I need
Yeah,
you to go where
I
it's
think he
not a
was in
hanging
Italy
offense
and
and
it was
have a
fine.
happy ending.
Yeah,
Which one?
he was in Italy and it was okay because, like, didn't Tristan say
Oh yeah, he had
I
a
met
lover.
his partner in Sicily or something?
Yes.
Yeah,
I love that so much. I was like, can you just
and
go
there was
back
no
to Italy?
judgment.
Yeah. And it was, yeah. Oh, Tristan's just like, I don't think that a wedding between you two is gonna work because he likes he
He
likes
likes
people a little
men.
more like me. And I was just like, that's a clever way, but she already knows.
Yeah,
And the fact that he was willing to marry her, like, he was there in the garden after
you
she
saw
had been
what you saw.
compromised.
Yeah,
And so he's just like, listen, if anything happens, like, I will take this child as my own. We'll use each other to kind of like stop the gossips. And I was just
and
like,
then
sir,
we can both take lovers, basically, like
yes.
marriage of convenience, but take lovers.
I loved it
I was
so
like,
much.
can
I
I
want
just
him
hug you?
every time, like, he came up on a page. I was just like, you're my favorite person. And then Aunt Constance and Prudence come up, and I'm like, you know what? Oh my gosh, how wonderful would it be if they all ventured to Italy?
Oh my god, that'd be
I don't think I could
well.
handle that.
That's what kind of honestly, that's what I kind of wonder if they're hinting at. Maybe the two aunts are attracted
Oh,
to the two women.
potentially,
Maybe
maybe. I don't know. I just love that they were like team Caras. I'm gonna, again,
you're
we're
fine.
up to
I
three
got
times
you.
saying it wrong.
You're good.
72 to go. But yeah, they were always rooting for her and Tristan to get together, and it was, oh,
And they
it was
would do
so.
it right in front of them, and he would be like, "No."
Oh my gosh. And towards the end, when he's just like, yeah, we kind of intervened that first time. Remember that dress that she was wearing? And he's like, yeah, I'll remember that till the day I die. And she's like, yeah, we poisoned a guy. And I was like, oh my God, the ants poisoned.
That's what. Honestly, I literally wrote a post it, and I was like, "I need their story now," because it was like I just made. It was basically like back then version of like a diuretic
Oh yeah.
because
It was like blackthorn syrup, because
yeah,
I highlighted so much in that chapter, especially the last like whole like 3 or 4 paragraphs where like, should we tell him that he loves her? And they're like,
no.
no, we've meddled enough tonight. I'm like, come on, guys, just
But they're
force
fun.
it.
Like I love their like I was like I'm like I want you guys as aunts, please. I
And
don't
then
want
he's
I
like, well,
love
if he
fun.
makes a dumbass decision to propose to this Lucinda or whatever her name is, I was just
Purser.
like,
Her last name is
Purser.
Purser.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, we're definitely gonna have to like pour some of this into his brandy. And I was like, that's a good family member right there.
But I have to say, like, I like that they didn't wait till the end for them to actually like have sex. She was, and but I
Agreed.
like how adult they were about it. She's like, when he finds out that she's being blackmailed, he doesn't make fun of her. He's like, "This is an awful situation.
Oh my
Let's
gosh.
make the best out of it, I guess."
And then the revelations, like, before he proposed, where he's like, listen, I've been buying up all of your books across town. And I was just like, oh my gosh, he is. So he's like, if you say anything about my wife, because he basically proposed without proposing at that point.
I was like, dude, get that, like, come on, you gotta ask. Like, they're...
I know. Don't just assume. But then again, the brother was there. The fact that she was climbing through the window. There was so much foreshadowing in this book, and I loved every moment of it.
I know.
But as soon as she was climbing into the window and the light went up, I was like, oh, dang, are all three of the brothers there?
I know. I was waiting for all three of them. As someone who's in a family full of boys, yeah, that's happened.
And then he was, so how? We're going to go back to this dill hole. Sorry.
He doesn't deserve to be on the page, pretty much. Like,
he doesn't. Well, it didn't even frustrate me. I was like, sir, you are literally digging your own grave. He's in a room with her lover and her oldest brother, and he's like, your sister's a whore. I'm like, sir, that man's gonna kill you, and then he's gonna hold you down. Like, just stop talking.
Like, but talking. He knew the brothers. Like, you know, you're gonna die. Like,
yeah, they're both like cavalrymen. They've seen war. The most that this guy has seen is just like his carriage get ridden off by some other guy.
And that was the best part too. She's trying to pay him off. Like, in the beginning, it's blackmail. Yeah. And she gets in the carriage, and it's freaking Tristan, and he's like, that was the miscommunication of, he thought they were like lovers. And
she didn't. I mean, technically, she didn't try. She didn't try like,
because like she at that point she was like, I don't know if I can trust him, so like I can't say that I was completely.
And then at the opera, like a few days later when he caught her, it like gutted myself, and he's like, do you have no shame? And I'm like, sir, shut your hole. You don't even know anything. There was the first few chapters, I was like, Tristan, you were getting on my last nerve. Like, I really just want to shake
you. But then when he finds out, like, he's so
comforting about it.
I'm like, oh my, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, at least, like, we might not be together long, but I can make it fun. I was like, all right, I'm down.
I love that it started off as a joke where she's like, put your money where your mouth is. And I was like, dang, girl, you get it. And he's like, yeah, okay, let's do this. And I was just like, I'm so here for this.
But that's the kind of answer I like. Like, in not even in just historicals, like in contemporaries. Like, I like when they like go back and forth like that.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, because I realize that we're really just having a conversation, assuming you've all read it.
Sorry.
No. So basically the premise is everything happens with her and Hal. He's a dill hole. He ruins her and then leaves her for one sexual experience, and
it was literally like a bing bang boom out. Yeah. Didn't even ask if she was okay.
Like, how are you feeling? So for her ideas of sex, she's just like, well, this is what it
is.
Like, there's nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
And so he's just like, no, if he didn't take care of you, like, you should have. She was prepared to go into this marriage of convenience with Lord Ellington. And he's like,
she was being smart about it. If that was going to be her situation.
Right.
I'd rather be with someone who actually likes me, but might not be into me sexually, but like likes me as a human being, than someone who hates me.
Because she didn't realize what she was missing sexually. Right. Yeah. And this is where Tristan comes in, and he's like, well, I can show you that. Like, I'll educate you so that you can make an informed decision.
I was like, sir, where did you get educated? That's what I want to know.
I want to find that school, and I need a man from there. Please and thank you. But yeah, so they decide to, basically he's going to, sorry, it's raining, and if I lose connection. It just
started pouring here. If you hear anything weird, it just started.
That's why I looked over. I'm like, what is happening? But yeah, so I love that it started out with, you would assume you make a deal to like show you the process of love, that you go straight to bed. But I love Tristan, who described it as, it's like a 5-course meal. You don't just skip right to dessert.
Mm-hmm.
No. You got your first appetizer. You got your second appetizer. You got your soup. You got your salad, and then you got your
your vegetable course, and then your meat course, and then dessert.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was like, I like the way you think, sir.
Yeah, I realized for a second, I was like, we're going on really hard, like nobody knows what we're talking talking about.
Now you know what our text chain basically looks like.
So yeah, but I love that the first thing he's just like, no, I'm not gonna skip right to dessert. Like I'm gonna have my soup first. And so they have their first, like they meet and they kiss, and
They make out a little bit.
that was an intense. And I even made a post-it note about it too. I'm like, she spent 5 minutes with Hal. In that 30-second kiss, she probably experienced more emotions than the 5 minutes with this dill hole.
She was like, I didn't feel half of that. Like, I think it was while she was like riding back on her horse. She's like, Hal did more, but like I didn't feel. I felt more with a
none
kiss
of that.
Yeah,
and that was just
besides
a kiss.
pain and discomfort.
Yeah. Oh, and that killed me too, because when they were their first lovemaking session, which came after Cunnilingus.
It was legit. It was good though. Like it was, but it wasn't written to like. How do I put this? It wasn't written like her boob was here. It wasn't like it was just written. It flowed. Yeah. I guess is the right word.
Oh yeah. I wish I could find it. I'm gonna try. I'm not sure if I left a little
chapter 25.
Chapter 25. You know that so well.
Well, that's where they. Right after I finished it, it was when you texted me that you started it. So I was like, they don't do anything until chapter 25.
And let me just tell you. Okay, so for those of you that have read this, that love scene was several chapters long. Like I felt like it was a solid 30. It was 30 pages.
Perfect.
From when she meets him until she goes home. Like it was solid. Granted, it was probably
but it goes into like we were only together an hour. I'm like, how is that 4 chapters if they were only together an hour?
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is not necessarily the whole analogy. But this is where they're talking about where did they start? It's called a climax. Oh yeah. That was actually different. This is not.
I love his and then his like architecture terms for her body parts were killing me.
Oh my gosh, she's like, your boobs, they're domes, and I was just like, she grabs his cock.
This is a curve. And if anybody complains about your boob size, like, we'll have a conversation.
Oh my gosh, and going back to the ants when they were describing. So apparently, in this time, you had to be super thin. And boobs like bee stings is what they called it.
Yeah.
Which was hysterical. Let me just tell you. I literally laughed out loud when that happened.
No, I started laughing because that's what my grandma calls it. She's like, they've got bee stings. I'm like, yeah, I get it.
I was like, I've never heard that before, but it's my new favorite saying. Thank you.
As someone who is very ample in that area, I like that terminology.
Yeah, she was super curvaceous. So, like, him talking about her curves, I was just like, I like that she's not, and I think we've said this before in other lives, where I like when they're not stick thin.
Yeah.
Yeah, bee stings. Like if a bee sting got you, it's only a little bump.
I guess I didn't realize that wasn't common verbiage because my grandmother used it when I was growing up. You know, like it was normal.
Oh yeah. So this is after. Sorry, my door is slightly open, and I know people
25, 30, and 33 are the 2 sex ants.
True. But yeah, sorry, I'm trying not to say cunniling is too loud. But this is after that happened, where like she realizes that he has not softened, and so she feels like she's done something wrong, and she's like, "Don't we need to take care of that?"
That was
and he's like,
so
"No,
sweet.
We're good." And so here's one of the lines about dinner. So he goes. Remember what I said about dinner courses? It's good to come to the table hungry. Sometimes the anticipation is almost as good as the food itself. And my little post-it note was "Sweet Jesus" and fan self.
But I also like that he was like, but he like read her facial expression, like when she like after they did this.
Oh yeah,
they did the stuff on the rocks.
And I always loved that he said he made 2 promises to her. That one, that he would pleasure her to the best of her ability, and 2, if she ever wanted him to stop, that he would. And so he was trying to build up that trust, because she doesn't trust guys after she gave her heart to this dill hole. That's his new name. I gotta find this because I know it's before that. And then he was just like, I just need a minute and then I'll be good to get back on my horse. And I'm like, you're thinking about Lavina Purser. which is supposed to be his
the ants
beloved.
didn't the ants call her like an ice queen or something to that effect too? Like that she was chilly,
Yeah.
like or something along those lines.
Something very similar to that. Oh God, where is it? I highlighted so much, and then at some points I'm just like, maybe I should stop.
I didn't. I barely highlighted in the first one. That's why I was like, I really like this one.
Yeah, I sorry, my own post-it note cracked me up. Okay, here we go. Everyone, this is a good one for you. So this is when Tristan meets her in the opera house and they're kind of talking. He's trying to figure out how long that she had this affair with Hal because he's thinking like weeks and months and that she's very disappointed. And so he's just like, she goes,
Or
no,
that wasn't that when he thought they made out? Like I just
at the opera.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they were so in love that they couldn't hold themselves back. And so basically she's like, it was one night. And she goes, our affair lasted approximately 5 minutes and it was entirely forgettable. And my post-it note was 5 minutes is being generous because there's no way.
Pump. It was
He was a 3-pump chump. There was no way that it was lasting longer than that. No way. No.
I hope Portico's channel doesn't get demonetized.
Oh man. But yeah, no, that was great. And I feel like it's got to be after this. She's not wrong. Why is she not wrong?
But like when she tells him like what's going on about her being blackmailed and all this stuff, he goes, he's an idiot. And I was like,
yeah,
thank you.
They all hate. And every time like Tristan would say something, especially after everything came out, Tristan would say something and one of the brothers was just like, yeah, someone's got to hit that guy. And he's like, I did pretty much that. And all three of them were like, good.
More. That was my favorite thing because I think that's where the brothers like got the chip off their shoulders.
The brothers were so wonderful. Oh yeah, I will make you 2 promises, neither of which is empty. 1, I promise to give you pleasure to the very best of my ability. Dang, I remembered some of this stuff real good.
I know.
And 2, if you're dissatisfied with my performance at any time, you can tell me to stop and I will. Okay. Love you.
But I like that he took his time, that it wasn't just for him. Like
straight to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Yeah, because unfortunately, that just happens to be. You make a bet like that, you assume that there's nothing.
You're gonna go to Pound Town.
But it just shows. Yeah, it just shows how good he was. Like he was a good man. $50.
The last scene was my favorite, though.
Yeah. Okay.
He locks the door and the brother starts. I'm like, oh,
if you're not out here in 3 minutes, I better see a proposal in 3 days in the newspaper, or we're going outside with pistols in the morning. And I'm going.
I was like, sir, you had sex with a woman in a cave, okay?
Oh, there is a post-it note in here. Gonna make Nicole proud. Where they just got chased by a bear. They're basically rolling around in dirt. Clearly, they're dirty.
Yeah.
He starts fingering her. And I'm like, sir, you just gave her a UTI. Like, put your fingers out.
Both the scene where they're on the moss and the scene where the mud, I'm like, that's Infection City.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't care, but you're not getting me an infection, sir. No.
Oh, here it is. I found it. Your experience with Hal was like, he paused, searching for a suitable metaphor. Like attending a 6-course dinner, except you missed out on the first 5 courses, all of which are quite delicious in their own right, and rushed straight to dessert. And then he does go on to say, now there's nothing wrong with this dessert, especially if it's like a chocolate, I'm going to butcher it, gâteau, or creme brulee. But Hal served you something revolting, like peas pudding. Instead, no wonder you lost your appetite. And I was just like, dang, sir.
But I like
you cut straight to the point.
I like the correlation between food terminology and bedroom terminology.
Yes.
I was like, yes.
And like even Shannon said it earlier, like it's a perfect metaphor. I can't find it right now. Oh, that's a cute analogy. Yeah. It was like right on. I can't say how perfect it was. I can't say more how perfect it was. You guys know what I'm trying to say.
But it was like, I also like that. I know it's not historically accurate, but I like that Kate Bateman gives her female characters some form of agency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I mean, she knew she would have to marry, but like she's still an independent person, even though she's
Yes.
married.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
Well, and
yes, yes.
I like that the oldest brother, realized that she was living with a bunch of bachelors, and that probably wasn't great. So their chaperone, which was like their aunt or something on the
Didn't
Davis
care
side,
what she did.
yeah, she was
I
just
was
like,
like,
"You do what you
yeah,
do." And then I think at one point, like, she refused to go out because she didn't want to have to associate with people. And I'm like, this
same,
aunt gets me. This aunt gets me.
same.
Oh, it's a good one. It's a good series. I feel like I really enjoyed this one more than the first.
I think this honestly, I think this is a 5-star for me.
Oh yeah, for me it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just it was written really well. They had really good chemistry.
There was just more there, like more meat on the bones.
And I just loved all the little tidbits. And I'm always a sucker for good foreshadowing. So like if you throw a little bit of sprinkles throughout, it's just like
My
that's talent
favorite
right
line, and
there.
it wasn't even like a sexual line, was when he was walking her through his house that he was building, and she notices that it's her favorite color green, and then he goes,
Yes.
"Painted it for you specifically." I was like, "Oh my god, that's the cutest thing ever."
Oh, oh my gosh, yeah, when he was walking her through his, like, build up house, he had the mistress's quarters. So for some reason, like, I read mistress as, like, his mistress, not his
Mis-
wife, which I think was supposed to be, like, mistress, that's where his
Mistress of the house is wife.
yeah, that's where she was supposed to be. And
Yeah,
he had painted it a specific color green because that was
that's
the
what
color
she.
green of her room.
Yeah,
Um,
and the color of her eyes.
yeah. And I was just like, "That's so beautiful," but she could not stand to be in this space that he was gonna
She
share
thought
with
someone
someone
else would
else.
occupy.
And I was just she had to go outside, get some air. I was like, "Oh, could you guys just go christen that bed?" I mean, they did later, but
But I was just like, and then when was it? Was it the last scene when he proposes? He's like, "That's why I painted the room your favorite color," and I was like,
yeah!
"No, so cute."
Yeah, I mean, I started slow, but that was just because I had a lot of other things on my mind, but I didn't feel bored reading this one either. I feel like it
Mm-mm.
kept a good pace, that as soon as it started to feel like it slowed down, that something happened, and it just
Yeah. Well,
good
that was
good waves.
honestly, that was what dinged the first one for me, is because I kept on putting it down and then not going back to it for a little bit. Like
Yeah.
it took me a month to read the first one, and I read this one in 4 days.
I read this one in
The only reason I took more time is because I was taking notes because of the live show and stuff.
yeah, I think I started this one in 3 days.
Yeah.
Um
And then
um
what's weird is it's literally 40 pages shorter than the first one. I did the math. It's
oh,
it's four because it's literally like 350 pages the first one is, and this one's 311.
311, which made it a lot easier for me because I started it, I think, on Sunday.
And I feel like the chapters were shorter in this one.
They were. That's one thing that I really
I
liked. I feel like
appreciated
each
that.
chapter was like 6 to 10 pages, which is nice because then if I don't feel like if I have to put it down to do something, I can finish a chapter, finish a
Yeah,
thought, and then move on.
right.
Um, give star ratings. Oh yeah. What is your star rating, Liz? Always
I really
curious.
want to know your star rating, Liz, because I know you're more historically accurate. I'm curious.
um
I can't wait to read the
okay.
next book because that brother's my favorite.
Morgan.
Yes.
Honestly, I keep reading it as I think they called him Captain Morgan, and then I just
I
every
think you
time I
were
hear
wrong when
that,
you sent it to me. I thought like I looked at my rum bottle in my kitchen. I was like, really?
yes, I did, yeah, and I honestly spent most of today reading it, and I probably could have gotten through it faster, but I kept highlighting a lot. And
Annotating takes a
nope,
little time. That's why I try to give myself some time, depending on the
right.
length of the book.
2 seconds here. I got a text message, um, which I normally wouldn't do during a live, but reasons. Yeah. Okay. So what else? Oh yeah.
The
After their
peacock,
kiss.
while everybody hated Jeffrey the peacock.
Oh, okay. Jeffrey was glorious, and I kept loving that they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and make some peacock soup," and I was just like, "Who is gonna have peacock soup.
Well, I started laughing because my mom wants to get peacocks on her land.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say to eat them, and I was just like, no.
No, she wants to. My mom has a huge piece of. My mom and her husband have a huge piece of land. She wants to get
Yeah.
goats and peacocks. I'm like, oh
Oh,
god.
nice. Yeah, we have, Nicole and I, a library fairly nearby that is like a sanctuary
Really?
for a bunch of them. They're
That's
basically it's by our
fantastic.
library. There's a small park next to it, and they're just everywhere. So around mating season, I love to go out, which I think it's right around this time, and
Usually
take
the rate of
pictures of
like the
them.
start of spring, usually.
And they're so pretty.
They are
Male
pretty.
ones, not so much for the female
I just
ones.
don't like.
Sorry.
I don't know. Like I've never had luck with birds, so birds kind of. I'm a little
Yeah.
with birds, but they're pretty.
They are stunning. Even I will say, so the males obviously with their tails are gorgeous. When they lose their tail feathers, they're slightly terrifying to look at. But the lady peahens, I like how they have nice little plumage. So they're kind of plain, but they're all still kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is after they kissed. And he was just like, "Go to bed, cares,
Paris.
and don't give Hal a second thought. Just think of all the things I'm going to teach you when we have our next lesson." And I was just like, sweet Jesus, he barely touched her, and I'm already on fire. I'll never survive their sexual encounters.
I know.
They were very spicy without being like
Overt.
spicy.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
also like that he was like, it was some sort of line towards the end where he was like, I don't know if I should be rough with you. And she was like, no, go ahead. I was like,
Yes.
yeah.
It was after, well, it's because it was the affirmation. I always, Nicole is with us because I feel like affirmation of life. It was after they were chased by the bears.
It was
They're the one bear.
we're gonna die, so let's bang it out.
Yeah. I mean, he did even he even said too, he's just like, I gotta make sure that she's okay. Like I've gotta make sure that every part of her is all right.
Yeah.
And I was just
I
like,
don't know. It's your
yeah,
but
you
like
do.
muddy
Respect
hands
her.
and yeah, I was just like that took me out a little bit.
I mean, make sure everything's okay without going inside and doing stuff with your fingers that are dirty. Yeah.
That are not
Sure.
clean because you just ran from a bear in the woods. Like
Although a small part of me really wanted her to like back up to Buttercup's, not knowing that Buttercup was still in there,
yeah.
to Buttercup's stage and like capture him, and then she'd keep him forever, which was super cute because then at his house, like this is the last scene, where he
And
has
he built
architectural
an
plans,
enclosure thing.
and he has like huge enclosures for her animals, which is perfect. And I love that she had the right mentality for this, where she felt guilty because she would take exotic animals or something, and she would cage them, which she felt caged in her basically society for being
Yeah.
ruined. um but she also recognized, like, listen, if it wasn't for me, like, these animals are too used to people, like they can't survive out there. I'm giving them the best life. And I think that was even something that Tristan said to her at one point. So the fact that he thought like to give them bigger spaces, in which they already had pretty large, I feel like, enclosures at
Hmm.
Trellick Court.
Yeah.
um
I always mix up the names of the houses.
I wrote Trellick Court down, but I didn't write anyone else's, and I feel like I should have.
I don't know if there was a name for his house yet because it was being built.
I feel like they said it a couple times and it might have
I
started with
can't
an N,
remember.
but we'll know next time. I'll make sure to notate that. Um, yeah. Let's see. My green ones are the ones that I thought we should talk about. My pink ones are just cute little cute little
Mm.
moments. What? Oh, this is when we already talked about it. Where Victoria, Lord Prowse.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And she was
They
like,
were sharing
I'm
a
pregnant with
kiss.
his baby too. I was like, you go, girl.
Yeah. And then she was like, even he'll know it because I haven't shared his bed in months. And I was like, dang, Victoria
I was like,
hates this guy.
I'm gonna hang on her.
Oh, I know. I was just like, if I didn't like Victoria before, she's one of my new favorite people
I
now.
know.
That's exactly what I said right here. Because yeah, so wonderful, so freaking wonderful. Oh, and these are the ants.
I really want
so
their
much.
side. I want their story because they're a hoot.
Yeah. No, this is when they poisoned him. We talked about it already. We're doing great, guys.
I know.
Oh, and this is when. So they were only supposed to be together for a week. That was how long her education was supposed to
Yeah,
last.
because it was the house party of her brother and Maddie. Is Maddie the woman from the first one?
Maddie and Griff, yes. They
Yeah.
are book one. Madeline, but everyone called her Maddie. I don't know where I was going with that.
There was the week-long love affair and
Yes.
the
week-long love.
renegotiation.
So we're at the end of it. It's the last night. They're trying to figure out, like, we still got a few hours left. And I was like, he was even thinking about it because I think it was just like the day before that they had consummated everything. And he was just like, I have so much left to teach her. And I was like, you kind of taught her the basics. She kind of knows everything. And then he starts listing all the things that he hasn't done. And I was like, dang, I mean,
But
you
I
guys are
also
going to
like,
need a couple weeks for this.
yeah, when going back to the first actual sex scene, and he was like, "You're sore because that's muscles you don't use. We'll have to use them again." I was like, "Yeah,
Yes.
yes."
I was just, when he said that, I was just like, are you
highlight,
volunteering?
highlight.
Yeah. But so they're in the gardens again, and I was just like, oh my gosh, she's gonna replace a terrible memory with Hal with Tristan, and I was so excited for it. And then of course Hal pops up, and I was just like, oh my god, shoot him, Tristan. Just take out one of your pistols, take him out.
And of course he was with the guy who treated the bear like absolute crap, the other one. The one that they ended up having to catch.
I know this was an innuendo thing where I think it was right after they trapped the bear in the pit. Apparently, a lot happened after they trapped the bear in the pit.
Yeah.
Where he was standing really close to him, and she was just like, "Oh, I can see how much like you want me right now." And he goes, "That's a pistol." And I was like, "Sir, don't even lie. We all know what that is."
You're using that as an excuse because you're in front of other people.
Yeah.
And I just love the fact that like she dressed up as him for the ball.
Yes.
Thing. I was like, that's cute.
As soon as she says to the aunts, she's like, I'll let you figure out who it is. It's someone you know. I'm like, obviously it's Tristan. Come on, guys. But yeah, the aunts and Seaside Cafe, I would love a side story.
Honestly, that's who they reminded me of.
Yes. You were fun. Education, exactly. He was happy to be her professor.
See, that's the fact that doesn't bother me. There's no power dynamics there.
Yes.
They were on equal footing.
Yeah. He was very creepy. He always seemed to be there. The way that he held himself and talked and did all this.
He was slimy.
He was very slimy. That's a great word for it. Yeah, he made me.
And like, you are such a piece of crap to take money from a woman because you did something that you don't want to own up to.
Right. That one was about the crows. I was like, my prediction came true. Oh, and then my last one that I was talking about was when he's like, that your little sister is a whore. I was like, sir, shut up. Like, know the company that you keep, friends, okay?
But that's
There's
the thing,
no
like that don't. Yeah. They're gonna get their teeth in the back of their throat.
Yeah.
But the one scene I'll say right afterwards when like she tells Griff and he doesn't like make her feel like crap about it. I was like, oh, right. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, and he was just like, why didn't you tell me? He's like, and she was just like, I didn't want to ruin everybody. And I was just like, ugh. You have to also think about you a little bit. You got to make sure that you're taken care of, and that, I mean, yeah, they'll probably kill the guy, but
well, that's why like I had the conversation like that years ago with my dad. He was like, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, because you would have been in jail.
Yeah.
Like,
don't want that to happen to you.
No, like, no. It
so
wasn't anything like this situation. It was just a similar conversation.
Very crazy. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
I'm
looking forward to this one just because, yeah, it's supposed to be between Harriet and Captain Morgan.
Harriet's my favorite. I loved Harriet. Harriet's my favorite.
I love to, and you kind of get a little bit of snippets because I think we had it happen in the first book where you kind of got a little bit towards the next couple. And so in this one, it was a dance, and I can't remember which dance it was. I think it was one of the balls at Trellick Court,
Yeah.
where Harriet, she was trying to be
It was their
passive, just
wedding ball. It was the wedding ball in the first one.
yes, and she was just kind of hiding away and being like insignificant, and then Morgan eyeballs her and he immediately goes over and he's like, "You want to dance?" But literally as he's walking over, I think it was Karis who was kept saying like she was watching it and she could almost tell each moment where she was trying to find a way to escape, but she'd basically blocked herself in trying to be insignificant so that nobody would go to her. Um yeah, it was so freaking cute.
I
It
love.
was so cute.
I like the how she ended the first book with the conversations between the other two couples. I
Yes.
honestly thought this book was going to be about Morgan and Harriet at first
Oh, okay.
because she started with them and how they were constantly like needling each other. So I assumed they would be book two, and then the last scene of the first book happened, and they were like these two were
Tristan, these two.
needling each other. So I was like, which one is it?
Right? Yeah. And for the book 3, Shannon, just so that you can kind of plan your TBR around it, I think it's probably in the documents as well, or I don't know if it's in the description box, but April 12th
Isn't it?
is the date for a Wicked Games. So just so that
I
you're
don't
aware of
have
that.
the book with me at the moment.
Speaking of, let's go to a few of our next books so you guys know because I'm gonna forget to tell you all, and that's not great. So first of all, first and foremost, please note the time change because I think it's April 12th.
March
Times
12th.
change. March 12th. Thank you.
It's
um,
changing earlier this year. It usually doesn't change till April
oh, interesting.
because
Okay.
it's changing before my birthday. Usually it's at the
Yeah, because your birthday's on the 17th. Not sure if I should have
19th.
said that or if you wanted people to know, but
19th.
everyone knows.
19th.
18th.
19th.
19th. I have that. I said the 17th because that's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
19th. It's on like all of my calendars. I should know this.
It's okay.
My bad.
My birthday's
So
coming up. So yeah.
yeah. So this is Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Alston. This is the second book in this series. So for
I love these
anyone,
covers.
they're really pretty.
They're so cute.
I had so much fun. I can't wait for you guys to see some of the things that I've created. First of all, Cam
Oh
is
my god,
amazing.
they're so great.
I've had all the joys in the world. But yes, this is the second book. So if you words, if you have, oh, that's glorious.
The first book is blue with the same design.
Yeah, I don't have a physical copy, but I've got the ebook and I'm hoping to read it beforehand. So
It's
fingers
middle
crossed
grade
there.
March, so we threw in a middle grade.
Yes. But yeah, definitely. I'm not sure if you need to read the first one, but I would just say plan on
I
doing it.
would because it supposedly picks up right after the first one ends.
Oh, good to know.
I don't know specifically, but that's what I've heard.
No, for sure. But yeah, so everyone, that's going to be on March 15th. So if you want to take a screenshot, I don't know how long we hold that for, so I'm just going to go with that was great.
Watch a lot of people be like, take it as we're moving our
But yeah, so it's going to be in 2 weeks from today. And then, so 3.5-ish weeks. I want to kind of tell you about it now for reasons.
Put it on
A Curse in Ash by Julie Zantopoulos.
Xanthopolis.
Haha, I did it right. This is going to be on Alicia's channel. This is the first book in the series. Currently, the ebook is on sale, right? $3.99 on Amazon. There is
I'm
no
not sure about Canada, but US it's $3.99.
okay, yeah, for the US. It is the first book in a series. We are going to have the author there, and it's going to be
Yeah.
at 5 p.m. on a Saturday. So I will have this next week, but I wanted to let everyone know about it in case if you wanted to hop on the ebook deal. Yes, I'd say take a screenshot, but we're gonna do it next week. So,
Not next week. It's the 25th.
25th. Yeah,
Yeah.
3.5 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Because it's in between Amari and the Great Game, and I believe Undercover Bromance.
The second Bromance book.
Undercover Bromance. Yes, so it'll be super fun. Let's see here.
And this is just a forewarning, it gets spicy.
Oh, it's an adult.
It's spicy. A throuple happens.
Shannon, thanks so much. Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with everything. I didn't realize how much Nicole had to do, and then she had a baby, and now I'm like, okay, scramble. So lots to come and look forward to. If there's anything that you would like to see us read, just know that we're trying to finish some series that we started.
Yeah.
And we have plans through May. So just keep us posted on what you want to read. We'll try to throw in some standalone. My plan is to throw in some standalones to.
And I hope you guys will be there on the 25th, because I'll need support, because this is the first time of me doing it by myself. Well, Jen will be there, so I'm not by myself.
I'll be there with you. You can't get rid of me.
No.
Yes, March 19th is her birthday.
I'll be an old lady.
I think I'm so older than you.
Only by like 6 months.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out, and we thought of this way after we decided to try to catch up with some series, that we were trying to like pick what month it was, and read something towards it. So I'm slowly learning things. I found out that this month is Women's History Month, so
yes. Well, Lyssa K. Adams. Well, this one, Lyssa K. Adams would work because it talks about the Me Too movement a little bit. Because of the things.
Yes. Oh, that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because I was just like, it would be kind of cool to pick a few of those, like be on theme. It would kind of maybe push us out of our normal zones.
Yeah, this is probably way out of most people. It's not so spicy. It's just
it has fairies, right? The Unseelie and the Seelie Court. I started reading a little.
Fairies, a king, and it brings up a lot of gods, and the magic. That's why there's a tarot card is tarot magic. So when I got the signed copy from her, she sent it with an actual tarot card.
Oh, did I get that?
Yeah, you should. You probably did.
To get out.
You probably did for the second one because you ordered it from her bookstore. And I hope you guys like this, because I'm hoping to do the series on my channel, because the second book is already out because it came out in October of.
Look at this cover. It's so freaking.
It's beautiful.
I'll pick that up later. It's so beautiful.
The third one will be out this October. So I'm hoping to do and Julie is fantastic. We're internet friends. We were supposed to meet in person, but the pandemic happened. Because
pandemic.
Because we actually don't. Before I moved, we didn't live too far from each other, so we were
very cool.
So I've known her for a little bit. You might know her as Pages and Pens on YouTube. She has her own YouTube channel as well. Pages and Pens. I'll put all that information. Nicole, Jen will have to show me how to do the.
We're gonna do it.
But I'm hoping you guys will join. I don't have any videos on my channel yet, but I'm working on them. Editing sucks.
Yeah. That's why we stuck to lives, because Nicole and we got to a point where we're like, you know what? I mean, she was doing all the work, so I shouldn't even say that. Yeah, I was so hard because I came over, I would do the lives, and then I would just leave. And then I was like, what's the blooper reel coming out? Because I was always excited for the blooper reel. You guys
needed a blooper. Yeah, we needed a blooper reel at some point.
Yeah, pandemic hit, and Nicole's just like, well, they're just going to have all the bloopers in there. You're welcome, everybody.
Editing. I don't realize how much I say until I'm trying to edit them out. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I felt bad for her because you guys have seen this tangent. Could you imagine trying to edit all of this out? we're already at 120 minutes. If Nicole had to like chop this down, she'd probably get it down to about 30 minutes. That's how much she cut out.
Yeah, but I like that because it's like I don't know about you, but I prefer like bouncing off of other people. Like
Yeah.
I'm still getting used to talking to a camera. I'm weird to me, but I'm trying.
Oh yeah.
And there will be a thumbnail. I will post it to all socials. I can cross promote it on the Who Picked This Book thing on
Yeah,
Facebook,
I'll
right?
probably post a bunch too. I just didn't want to
Okay.
post too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah,
any,
'cause I
like
was just like,
if life happens and if something happens where I have to change the date, I will keep you posted. Everything's fine as of right now, but life happens sometimes.
no, for sure, for sure.
She's lovely,
Um,
and she's absolutely lovely. She actually, when she found out my grandmother read this, she was like, "Apologize to your grandmother for the sex scenes." Literally, I'm like, "You don't know my grandma."
you don't know my grandma.
So it is spicy. I will understand if you DNF for that reason, but it's fun.
I feel like we're gonna have to wear our crowns.
Oh
Honestly,
yeah,
I was so tempted.
I was gonna ask you afterwards. I was planning on it.
Oh yeah, I wanted to wear a crown today. I was just like, I need to commemorate this somehow.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, friends, if you do not own a crown, go to Amazon and buy one immediately. Because you will never feel more pretty than when you have a crown on your
Well, I
head.
have to thank Jen for mine because she bought it.
And honestly, I went on to Amazon again. Added a bunch more that I don't need, but also will keep an eye on the off chance that something comes up. Yes, non-spicy Shannon.
So also, please, if you guys have any questions for Julie,
Oh yeah,
please
think
bring
about it.
them because she's I've got her for a little bit over an hour.
Okay, so we're gonna have to focus for the first hour. Got it.
Oh no, once you read this, you'll be able to focus.
Will
It's good. I
Yeah,
can't wait to. I haven't read the second one yet, so.
yeah, I feel like I need to start this as well as the Amari and the Great
Amari.
Theme, because with that I really want to try and physically read it because I had so much fun annotating this one, and also I'm hoping even after I return the ebook that I'll still be able to see my notes, and
Yeah.
hopefully, but
As
I
long
also
as
don't want to
you post
forget.
them to Goodreads, you will be able to.
Oh, okay, I'll have to do that.
When you finally rate a book and it
Please
goes.
share your notes. Don't tell me what to do. Goodreads. Sorry.
That's how you can. If you're using a library book, you can still just click share your notes and it'll
Okay, good to
work that
know.
way.
My thing is, I feel like I don't go through them to mark things as spoilers, and I'm
No,
not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I was nervous because my dad's wife has gotten back into reading, so now we're friends on Goodreads, and I'm like, please don't judge me for what I read.
I also try to not remember that I think I'm friends with my mom on Goodreads, and
I'm like, Dad, you can look at your own peril. Like,
yeah, if you want to cross that line, that is all on you.
but I hope you guys will enjoy this, and I hope you guys will be able to make it. And if not, I understand.
It's a Saturday. We got nowhere else to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I should say I have nowhere else to be on a Saturday. You all might have lives. I do not. But yeah,
But
I
thank
think
you all for coming. We were nervous about who was going to show up. Thank you all for coming.
hopefully we did Nicole proud. I think she'll watch it back and be like, "You guys did great." If she's not
she's
already
always our cheerleader. It's like she'll talk to both of us a ton.
Very true. Very true.
Oh,
Thanks.
thank you, Shannon.
Oh, and she said she's gonna try and be there. Whoop whoop. We got another one.
Are you? Well, Canada, you're EST, right, Shannon? Like East Coast time. I always get messed up with Canada because certain spots are different.
Yeah. It's all the zones. Oh, she's an EST. Yeah, so 8 p.m.
8 p.m. on the 25th.
25th
I will
is a Saturday.
repost so you guys will be able to save it. as it
Yeah.
gets a little closer. But I
Yeah,
also wanted
yeah.
to cross because like we wanted to do it with the book club, but because it's something
But
we
we
talked
also
about after the fact, we're bringing it over to my channel, but it's still going to be connected to the Who Picked This Book Club.
Yeah, so in
I feel like I just
association.
talked in a circle.
No, you're good, you're good. Yeah, thanks everyone for showing
Thank
up.
you,
Thanks
Liz. I need
everyone
to take
in
your
the
brain
comments.
offline, Liz.
Yeah. So I'm gonna see if I can remember everything. Thanks everyone in the comments for joining us. Thanks for my lovely co-host. Oh, that was weird to do.
I know, weird.
It's all backwards.
Thanks for
Thanks
everybody
for
watching on
everyone.
the replay.
The replay, yeah. If you'd like to be in one of our lives, I believe I put the description box. There is a link to our
Sign-in sheet.
docs, sign-in sheet. That's a better word for it. Yep. Don't forget to like, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. I think that's
Bye,
everything, right?
everyone.
Bye, guys.